So in this video, I'm going to talk about another strategy of successful people, which is to engage in reflections. Now, just as it was with goal setting, doing reflections can help you care more about your work and do a better job each time that you're engaged in work. So a good time to do reflections is once in a while to kind of see where you are with on track to with the goals you've set in the past, so at least once a year, but I try to do that every quarter. I will do a reflection designed for me to think about where am I with the goals that I set last time I did a goal setting task. So what I'll often do is I'll do a reflection in 1 month, and then I'll do a goal setting the next month and do another reflection the next month, and then do a goal setting the next month, and kind of alternate like that. Or I'll do it every 2 months with the alternation process. But I want to do that on a regular basis so that I make sure that I can keep tabs on myself and that I'm on track to my goals in life. How am I doing with the process of getting to my goals? Progress towards your goals. Basically, that's what it means. And I have a structured guide that talks about that. It has to do with like setting your reflection, and then each type of goal that you have should have a measured thing that you're using it to measure. So you spend some time looking at your measures, looking at your data. How am I doing? Do I need to adjust? Do I need to change my goal? What has worked well for me? What do I have to do different now in order to do even better? Do I need to adapt my goal? Is it still attainable, or am I asking for too much? Or am I asking for too little? Should I change and ask for more? That is what I do every time I have one of these step back reflections. You also want to do reflections at the end of each day. If you set goals in the morning and at the end of the day, you want to say, okay, what were my two main goals for the day? How did I do on those? Uh, how is there anything I could have done to make sure that I did them quicker or better? Is there anything I could have improved on my practice? And I actually have this teacher guide that I use that just gives you an idea of kind of like some of the reflection questions that I might ask myself. So I'm going to show you that. So I don't necessarily ask myself all of these questions every day, but I try to answer at least three of them every day, right? So here are some of the questions I ask. What are the three things that went well today? What were some relationships hallmarks from today? What could you have do better in terms of relationships? That's because I really want to work on that. What did you do on your daily goal of increasing blah? Did you want the students to learn or get better during this lesson that you did? How do you think they did? How do you know that they did that well? Um, were instruction materials ready or useful? What kind of uh, how often do you teach this kind of lesson? Was it new or routine? What did you learn from this lesson? Uh, how did this lesson fit in the sequence of things that you're doing in class? Was there any content that was difficult to teach? If so, why? What would you do different next time? Um, how did you make sure that you address the different spectrum of kids you have in your class? Did you do advancement things for students which were bored, or recovery things for students which were struggling? What are some of the strengths of your lesson? Why? What are some of the misconceptions the students faced? What, if anything, would you change for this lesson if you were to do it again? What will you do tomorrow with these students based on the reflection that you did in this lesson, or the evaluation or the data that you collected based on the students? So I don't have time to answer all these questions every day, but I will randomly pick some of them from the hat and make sure that I answer them every day to make sure that and sometimes I'll make one of them routine depending on what I'm focusing on my practice. But that's just an example, right? I collected these reflection questions over the history of my career, and I want to make sure that I hit them because that helps improve my craft. And you want to make sure you have something similar to that on your at the end of your day. And it might be something as simple as, what were my two main goals for today? What did I get done? How could I have done better on that? What am I proud of? That could be as simple as that. Likewise, you might want to make a reflection at the end of a task. So if you had 30 minutes, an hour to do it, or an hour to do a task, you can do this. You ask the same questions, right? How did I do on this test? Did I get the test done? Is there anything I could have done different to make the test better or to do better next time I'm doing a test like this? What am I proud of that I want to make sure I do again, right? Taking those moments to ask those questions can help improve the quality of the next time you handle a task. And I will even do reflections on a small scale, let's say every time one of my focus timer goes off. 10 minutes have gone by since my focus timer got started. What did I get done in these last 10 minutes? Oh my gosh, I wrote one paragraph. That's pretty good. All right. I'm going to try to do even better next time and not get distracted at all. Right. And that's already going into goal setting for the next time this timer gets started. Right. But that's when you're doing those mini ones. It's a quick little reflection and then goal setting and then go. Right. Reset and get to work again. Or take a brain break if that's what you're doing at the end of that period. So reflections are part of my long-term process, daily process, each task process, and even my small scale focus process, so that I can improve the quality of my productivity. Uh, I will give an example now of a reflection task that I give my students to help guide their reflection process. So here's an example. I might ask them to put their email here at the top and then choose their class, period, and the type of class it is, their name, and then here are the reflection questions, right? It starts with etch in stone. What did you learn today? What did you least understand or was most confused about? What made you the most curious, right? So this is a 3-2-1 reflection. 3 things you learned, 2 things you were confused about, 1 thing they made you curious. That's kind of what I do with that one. Then I have today's tombstone. What did you get done? How much did you do? How did you do? Did you achieve your goals? Did you get closer to it? Did you exceed your goals? What are you proud of this week? What work showcases your work this week? What has motivated you? Right. As you can see, I use this reflection once a week with the students, or at the end of a lesson or a cycle, or at the end of a project or something like that. Then I have shut yourself out, which is what did you do right? What action steps did you do that helped? Did you do things to adapt if things were not doing well? What were those things? What learning strategies helped, right? What would you do again? Or even what the question, next question right now. What would you do again? And then you have a zone of improvement. What did you do that you should not have done? What could you have done better? What challenges did you face? What have you done in similar situations in the past that help with such challenges, right? With such challenges. Any other ideas that you could have that for improvement? Then I have the takeaway section. How does the learning of today's class relate to a real world scenario, or at least is important for science? How does this relate to anything you learn in another class or anything that happened to you before? Also, try to relate this to some cultural issue, whether it is your own or that of another culture. What questions the topic you are studying could raise that actually matter to the real world? What is your opinion about this topic? Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? Right? Why? Right? So this kind of idea helps the students connect with the topic a little bit more. And then I might also want to ask them for feedback. Um, ask basically an opportunity for them to say in what ways I could have done better, what things they feel like I did well, and in general suggestions for me as a teacher based on the work that happened last week. I might also ask them to make a goal for their home uh, process. Anything they might decide to do at home. This is especially for students that didn't really finish their work during the learning cycle and might need to do some homework in order to get that done. So I really enjoy using these reflections, and even if it takes class time to do it, I will because it's important for me to teach this life skill. I will have my students do it at least once a week, once the year gets going, and they kind of get into the routine of doing some of the other things I want them to do. Then I'll start introducing these reflections, and I'll do goal setting the first day of the week, and then do reflections at the end of the week, and then go from there. And I hope this makes sense. And I hope that this process of doing reflections helps improve your quality of your focus and motivation and of quality of your work as well. Remember, whatever you do, don't do anything that would not make your mama proud. Reflect on that.